This gold coin is over $3,000. Over the last 20 years, it's increased in value 582%, give or take.
Wow, imagine storing up a currency like that just keeps going up in value every day.
This never had to get bailed out by anybody.
Today, we are diving into gold and why so many investors are flocking to the safety of this long-term investment.
Is gold too high to buy right now?
That is the question on everyone's mind. Is it too late to get into gold?
I can talk till I'm blue in the face on why it's going to continue to go up, but central banks and institutions are accumulating gold for a reason.
Shannon Davis is a precious metals expert with American Alternative Assets, and he is diving right into why he believes gold's run-up is just getting started and what it could mean for investors generations down the road. Let's dive in. Shannon, so great to have you with us today. Thanks for joining us here on MarketBeat.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
So much has been going on in gold over the last couple of weeks, but really for a few months now, gold has had quite the run up. Kind of walk us back through kind of the price action we've seen on gold over the last 6 months or so.
It's that big word that people throw around. It's the R word. It's recession. It's real. When times are uncertain like they are today, people, take flight to safety. And everybody wants to be safe. That's why you have an alarm system at home. That's why you've got an alarm system on your car. There's dangerous times in this world that we're dealing with right now, and that's why we're seeing such a flight to gold.
Yeah, and we have seen quite a bit, especially in the last few weeks. The price of gold has really gone up, almost doubling in just a couple of years. How much further could it go as these fears of recession continue to come into most of the U.S.?
Yeah, that's a common thing. Is gold too high to buy right now? Yeah, it's hit an all-time high after an all-time high after an all-time high. And when people say it's too high, I remember in August of 2022 when it was around $1,600 to $1,700 an ounce, market was correcting just like it is today. So there's a lot of uncertainty in the markets that we deal with, equities markets in particular. But it's now at $3,027 and some odd cents today. And again, just in 2022, it was at $1,600 to $1,700 today. There's no stop in sight. There's a squeeze on supply where there's a demand and there's a supply issue. There's going to be a buyer's market. Some professionals see by July that going to 3,500. This isn't American Alternative Assets saying that. This is Bank of America's out there. This is the Goldman Sachs out there. Heck, Warren Buffett's in the world. See where this market's going. And by this time next year, some say 4,500. So there's no stop in sight.
Yeah, I think investors have been hearing about gold for the last few months. If they haven't gotten into gold yet, maybe they've never added gold to their portfolio. Is it too late? For some investors, like you mentioned, it does feel like they've missed the boat already a little bit.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are, scared of change. The traditional way of investing is, what is my financial advisor saying? He doesn't talk about gold and silver, and fiduciarily they can't. Legally, they can't sell physical gold or silver, or they would. That's a fact. No, it's not too late. It's just really understanding the history of gold. It has been around for a very, very, very long time. And if you just look at the last 20 years, some would say 20 years ago when gold was $470 an ounce, it was too high then. If you look 20 years prior to that, or 10 years prior to that, or 5 years prior to that, is it going to continue to go up? When it was 470, fast forward to today, it's over $3,000 today. So no, it's never too late. One, you have to understand, it's a legacy asset. It is generational wealth, and it's not about getting rich overnight. It's about having stability within your portfolio to hedge against all the uncertainty in the markets. Our markets are correcting, and they're going to continue to. Everything is cyclical. And so, with that, you always want to have a hard, tangible asset that's inverse to other markets so that you have something stable and safe and tangible in your portfolio.
It's a really interesting concept to think about too, is a generational wealth. A lot of people look at their investments that way of planning for not only their own future, but their family's future. But gold seems to be unique in that kind of long-term passing on that wealth to the next generation. But how do you get started? So if you want to build that for your future and your family, how do you start if you've never been there before?
Yeah, it starts with education. People really don't know what a $20 bill is, right? I have it here today. I wanted to just there's a big difference between a $20 bill and a gold coin, right? This gold coin is over $3,000. And like I mentioned, over the last 20 years, it's increased in value 582%, give or take. That's how much it's increased. So generationally, you've left something behind for your family that has continued to hold its purchasing power and grow in value. And you just need to educate yourself on real money. This is real money. It's a tier one asset. A lot of people don't know what that is, and we can speak further about that here in a minute. But this, over the last 20 years, has continued to decrease in value, and it's continued to buy less and less of goods and services because everybody knows those continue to go up. Our economy has forgotten how to grow. Our dollar bill is obsolete. Our monetary system is changing over, and that's just history. If you follow history, and when I talk about education, all monetary systems, they change over. They go to zero. These things get bailed out over and over again. This has never had to get bailed out by anybody in our entire government system. So yeah, generational wealth is always there. It just starts with education, and that's where we start with our customers, our hope to be customers. We start with education, the why, and then we need to explain the how. And the how is how you purchase gold and silver, cash, or with your retirement account, which a lot of people are doing.
Yeah, we're going to dive into that a little bit deeper too, the how to get started, what that looks like. I want to
Of
talk a
course,
little bit more about that gold market around the world a little bit. When you compare a gold coin to a dollar, that's the
yeah.
difference that I see as well, is the gold coin has value all over the world in a different way. Let's talk about the international demand for gold and what we're seeing all over the world as more people turn to gold.
Look, our banking system is failing, and it has for a long time, not only in our country but globally. And in order to secure their security, banks are buying gold and silver at a record pace. We're talking about de-dollarization going on around the world. And so this is why countries are buying gold and silver in the metric tons, is to be a stable country and have something that they can back their their, their own inflation with. I mean, you've got countries like Hungary that have inflation issues. If they didn't own gold and silver, their economy would have collapsed a long time ago.
Very interesting. And of course, contributing to that overall price of gold run up that we're seeing right now as more and more countries and more investors all over the world are turning to gold. So let's get to, if investors here in the US or any investor watching this video are looking into investing in gold or silver right now, what does that actually look like to make a gold purchase?
Yeah, it's simple. A lot of people think that gold, silver, what do I do with it? I can't take it to the grocery store and buy groceries, nor can you do that with your stock option or your annuity contract or your CD. You have to break that CD, go to the bank, see if they've even got money in the bank because they're having huge liquidity issues. So it just starts with understanding that there's nothing more liquid than gold and silver globally. It's priced the same everywhere, and you can purchase that through a check, what transfer, a wire transfer, or you can roll over your retirement account tax deferred and penalty free into what's called a self-directed IRA. And you can start by searching, what is a self-directed IRA? What is a depository? Where do you store gold and silver? Why do I want to buy gold and silver? It's just really about educating yourself. And we've got something called Google in this world that you can search through, and believe it or not, it'll tell you quite a bit about what gold and silver is and what it does. Chat GPT, our economy technology is shifting. You type in what is gold and silver versus US currency, it'll tell you what it is, and it sources all this information. So you don't have to believe anybody but yourself by self-educating yourself. But for those that don't have that time, they can reach out to companies like ours, American Alternative Assets. We offer a no obligation, free consultation, really getting a good idea of what their goals are, how they're positioned now, explain to them how gold and silver work, and how you can move it into a retirement account and hedge against the volatility of this market. And there's some huge tax benefits as well, based on how you can distribute your gold from a retirement account.
If you're already interested in learning more, go ahead and scan the QR code or click the link in the description of this video to get that offer from American Alternative Assets. You can click that link right now and learn more. We'll also have it at the end of this video too. All right, Shannon, let's dive back into kind of the tax benefits and the other benefits that investors could gain from switching some of their investments to gold.
When you take a distribution from a gold or silver IRA, you're taking it what's referred to as in kind. So it's an in kind distribution. What that means is you're taking it in physical metal. So physical metal is what you're taking your distribution as, not in dollars, but in physical coins, bars, rounds. And there's only a reporting obligation on what they call melt value, meaning this is your spot price, which is the global indicator of the entire world. Spot price today for gold is $3,028.72. You times that by the ounces, that gives you your melt value. But that's not the retail value, right? The retail value of gold and silver, depending on what that coin is, could be 3,500, could be 4,000, could be $4,500. And so when you take that distribution, they only report your melt value, very similar to what you pay on your home. You pay a tax assessed amount, not the retail value. So it's a very similar concept to that. So there's some huge tax benefits on your ordinary income. And this is why the Warren Buffetts of the world take distributions at the end of the year in kind from gold and silver that they own, is because they save quite a bit of money on their ordinary income. So I'm not a CPA. I'm not an attorney by any means. This is stuff that you can educate yourself on, again, by simply just searching online, ChatGPT, Google. You want to search that and do your own due diligence, though.
I think that is a really important piece here, Shannon, is that it is just new and different for investors who've never been into this market before. Even the answer you just gave might sound a little scary or intimidating or just confusing because there is a learning curve about investing in something you've never done before. What advice would you have for people out there who might be wary of switching to gold simply because it's unfamiliar?
I'd like them to think about that question. Is it really new to them? Right? Do they really know what an equity is? Do they know what they've purchased in the stock market? Right? Derivative contracts is what you're typically purchasing in the stock market. And do you know what a derivative contract is? I highly doubt that. Warren Buffett doesn't even know what they are. So the answer is it new to you? Gold and silver has been around for centuries, and it's just people think it's new, but it's been real money for a long time. There were years ago where people carried a silver dollar around in their pocket, and that's what they used to buy things. So it's not that it's new, it's just you need to understand what type of investment it is for you and your family's future. So it's not going into it thinking, oh, this is new, oh, I'm changing everything I've always done. It's just an alternative asset, no different than real estate being in an alternative asset. So it's just about going into it, understanding that it's not new, and just trying to understand why you would want a portion of your money in gold and silver and how can you do that?
You've had a lot of great advice for investors to consider today about gold and precious metal investments. We've seen such a run up in gold already. What are analysts, what are people out there saying about what the future of gold might hold even yet this year?
Gold and silver. Silver is an absolute sleeping giant. These are industrial applications, right? Our warheads that we build as a U.S. Army has 500 ounces of silver in it. The application itself is in 10 to 15,000 different things, solar, TV. So don't sleep on silver. Educate yourself on that as well. But the outlook is it's going to go up. Trump is doing certain things to reassess the gold price. This is why he's looking into Fort Knox. Things are changing with our banking system. They are having huge liquidity issues and they're failing. This is no different than 2008, if we all remember that. We're seeing eerily the same type of patterns. And there's something called the Basel III deadline that'll be in place by July 1st, where US banks must they must have capital and liquid assets. And that's gold and silver. Gold is being restored as a tier one asset. It's collateral, making it more valuable than anything. And that's why it's going to continue to rise the price. There's 2,000 tons of gold being returned to the US because we've lent it out and now we're recalling it because we need it. There are something called bullion banks. This is like gold and silver banks. They shorted gold for years, buying it at lower prices. Now they need to scramble and buy it back today at higher prices. And the more they buy back, the more prices go up. There's a demand, there's a rise on it, and that's tightening our supply. And so I can talk till I'm blue in the face on why it's going to continue to go up, but central banks and institutions are accumulating gold for a reason. Gold prices are set to rise. Banks are being forced to cover their shorts. They're fueling the rally. They're fueling the rally, and Basel III. Look it up again. Educate yourself on the stuff that's not in mainstream media. The narratives that you read aren't really what's going on behind the scene. And Basel III could, future it could increase gold's role in the financial system. I mean, we're talking about going to potentially a gold-backed bond in our country. So there's so many reasons why it's going to continue to grow. At the end of the day, it's a finite resource, and you can't make more of it like they've done with this. They've printed $36 trillion of this, and you can't keep making this. And so it'll always hold its value, and it will always increase. Just look at the history of it. In the last 20 years alone, it's gone up almost $2,600.
Yeah, a lot of great reasons to
Yeah.
explore more about gold and this kind of investment. And thank you so much for your time today, Shannon. And thank you for watching. Make sure to click the link below if you want to learn more again about their offer and just dive a little bit deeper into this kind of investment for your portfolio. Thanks again for watching, everyone. And as always, happy investing.